I stand frozen on the graduation stage, my blue polyester gown suddenly too heavy, too hot against my skin. Alden Whitlow, adoptive father for 16 years, strides toward the podium with the determined walk I've seen 1,000 times at his corporate functions. The walk that says he owns whatever room he enters. My diploma folder slips from my fingers. The leather case hits the wooden stage with a dull thud that only I seem to notice. "Excuse me, everyone." Alden's voice booms through the speakers, causing several people to jump. His silver hair catches the afternoon sunlight streaming through the gymnasium windows. "I have an important announcement regarding my daughter Maris." His daughter. The word hangs in the air like something fragile about to shatter. "Except she's not really my daughter, is she?" His smile doesn't reach his eyes. DNA doesn't lie. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd of 370 guests. The air conditioning hums overhead, suddenly the loudest sound in the world. "You're not my blood. Your tuition trust is cancelled effective today." I can't breathe. My eyes scan the crowd, dozens of phones pointed at me, recording what should have been my proudest moment. Community college graduation wasn't Harvard, but it was mine. Until now. Someone whispers, "Is he drunk?" But I know better. Alden doesn't drink. He calculates. What he doesn't know is that I've been calculating too. My trembling hand touches the folded lab report in my graduation gown pocket. The one that proves something far worse than my lack of biological connection to him. The one I plan to show him privately next week, after securing my apartment deposit. Plans change. I was 3 when the Whitlows adopted me from the Ohio foster system. 3 placements in 18 months had taught me to watch adults closely, to predict what might make them send me away. The Whitlow house was enormous, cold marble floors and echoing hallways, but Leorami, adoptive mother, created pockets of warmth within it. "The house is just a shell," she'd whisper while we baked cookies in the spotless kitchen, where the soft parts inside. Her hands would guide mine, teaching me to fold chocolate into batter without breaking the chips. Alden was different. With him, love was mathematical. Straight A's earned a tight-lipped smile. Perfect piano recitals meant a pat on the shoulder. When I won the state science fair at 12, he finally said, "You might make something of yourself after all." I learned to navigate his conditional affection through achievement. A+, first chair, valedictorian. Each accomplishment another payment toward belonging. Now I force myself to smile. Not the nervous grimace he expects, but the calm smile Leora taught me for difficult moments. "When someone tries to humiliate you," she once said, "grace is your greatest weapon." My heart hammers against my ribs, but I straighten my shoulders and walk deliberately toward the stage microphone. Running would give him satisfaction. Crying would become tomorrow's campus gossip. Neither serves my purpose. The whispers grow louder as I approach the podium. Alden steps back, momentarily confused by my composure. He expected tears or Rajano, this quiet determination. Mr. Whitlow makes an excellent point about blood relations. I say, my voice steadier than I feel. The microphone amplifies each word across the stunned gymnasium. Family is more than DNA. My hands have stopped trembling. I reach into my pocket and unfold the lab report, the one comparing Gideon's DNA to Uncle Colton's. Not to prove my connection to this family, but to expose an uglier truth. Horrified whispers spread through the audience as they realize what's happening. Parents shield younger siblings' ears. An elderly woman in the 3rd row fans herself with a program. The college president rises halfway from his seat, uncertain whether to intervene. I glance at Alden. His confident smirk fades as he registers what I'm holding, what I know, what I'm about to say. I've spent 16 years trying to earn my place in the only family I've known. 16 years of conditional love and measured affection, of walking on eggshells in my own home. Today I choose truth over belonging. Tomorrow I may have nothing. No family, no college fund, no place to live. But for this moment, as Alden's face drains of color, I finally hold the power. And I intend to use it. The memory flashbacks since I noticed the pattern on a Tuesday afternoon a month ago while organizing Sabine's calendar for the family's shared digital planner. A task she'd insisted I take over after claiming my superior organizational skills would be such a help to the family. Every Tuesday from 2 o'clock to 4 p.m., Pilates with Jen. Except Jen's studio closed at 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. I knew this because I'd driven Sabine there once when her BMW was in the shop. The calendar entry might have remained just another of Sabine's small deceptions if I hadn't seen Uncle Colton's Audi parked outside the Fairview Hotel that same Tuesday. His regular golf game mysteriously rescheduled every week to Wednesday. The calendar was open on my laptop when 3-year-old Gideon toddled into my bedroom without knocking, clutching his stuffed dinosaur. "Mari, play," he demanded, climbing onto my bed with the awkward determination of a toddler. I turned to tell him I was busy when the afternoon sunlight caught his profile. My stomach clenched as though I'd been punched. How had I never noticed? The distinctive Whitlow nose that Alden shared with all his siblings, the one I'd studied in family portraits, was nowhere on Gideon's face. Instead, his nose curved exactly like Uncle Colton's. Same deep-set eyes, same cleft chin. Not Alden's son. My fingers trembled as I shut the laptop. The implications thundered through my head like an avalanche. If Gideon wasn't Alden's biological child, then the money my college fund that had mysteriously become Gideon's education trust had been diverted to a child who wasn't even Alden's blood. "Sick?" Gideon asked, noticing my sudden pallor. I forced a smile and ruffled his hair. "Just thinking, buddy. What do you want to play?" The boy who had unknowingly become both my replacement and my nemesis wasn't at fault, but the adults who'd orchestrated this elaborate deception would answer for it. Later that evening, crystal wine glasses clinked against bone china as Sabine presided over the formal dining table. She sat in Leora's chair, a position she'd claimed within weeks of marrying Alden, directing the household staff with practiced efficiency. "More asparagus for Mr. Whitlow. Maris should have cleared her plate by now. And Gideon needs his milk in the blue cup, not the green one," she instructed the housekeeper with the smooth authority of someone who had always belonged. I pushed Brussels sprouts around my plate, studying Gideon across the table. Now that I'd seen it, the resemblance to Colton was unmistakable. "Your father and I have been discussing your university plans," Sabine announced, her voice carrying the false brightness she reserved for public undermining. "We've reviewed the finances, and community college really does seem more appropriate for your situation." My knife scraped against the china with an unpleasant sound. "My situation?" Alden cleared his throat. "The trust your mother and I established has been redirected to Gideon's account. He's our future now." "The trust was for my education," I said, measuring each word carefully. "Harvard was the plan since I was 10. "Plans change," Sabine replied, cutting her chicken into precise pieces. "Community college is perfectly respectable for someone in your position. After all, you're not actually a Whitlow." The words sliced through the room, leaving silence in their wake. "That's not what Mom said when she was alive," I challenged, looking directly at Alden. His face hardened. "This is typical teenage dramatics, Maris. Your mother would have understood practical considerations. Gideon is my son." "Is he, though?" I wanted to ask, but held my tongue. The DNA test kit hidden in my bathroom would answer that question soon enough. I set down my fork with deliberate care. "My apartment deposit for the Harvard housing is due next week," the admission letter specified. "We've been meaning to discuss that," Sabine interrupted. "The family contribution portion of your scholarship seems excessive given our current priorities." "Current priorities, code for Gideon." "Without the family contribution, I lose the scholarship," I said, the reality crashing down around me. Alden shrugged. "Perhaps that's for the best. Your grades at community college were commendable, but Harvard? That's reaching beyond your capabilities." Each word hammered another nail into the coffin of my dreams. Without the apartment deposit, without the family contribution, without their support, the acceptance letter collecting dust on my desk was worthless. For a moment, I considered surrendering, accepting community college, moving into a shabby apartment, working retail while watching my future shrink to match Sabine's vision of what an adopted daughter deserved. "May I be excused?" I asked, the old habit of politeness taking over. "Of course, dear," Sabine answered with a smile that never reached her eyes. "I made your favorite dessert. Shall I have Anna bring it to your room?" My favorite was lemon tart with fresh berries. The kitchen smelled of chocolate. Another small erasure. 3 days later, the email from the testing lab arrived while I was working my shift at the campus library. I waited until break to open it, hands shaking as I clicked the attachment. The PDF loaded slowly, revealing charts and percentages I barely understood until my eyes locked on the bottom line. 99.8% probability that Gideon James Whitlow and Colton Edward Whitlow shared a direct paternal relationship. Uncle Colton was Gideon's father. I stared at the screen, a strange calm replacing the weeks of anxiety. Evidence. Concrete, undeniable evidence of their deception. As I looked at those test results, I wondered, should I confront them privately, giving them a chance to explain? Or should I ensure my truth would be heard by revealing it publicly where they couldn't silence me? The private approach might salvage some family ties, but would they just find another way to push me out? What would you do when those who should protect you become your greatest threat? The invitation to Gideon's first birthday party arrives in my mailbox 4 days later, not my email in embossed cream envelope with gold lettering. I run my finger over the raised script, remembering how Leora would save special announcements for proper stationery. Some moments deserve more permanence than a screen, she'd say. However, 3 days before the party, Sabine calls. About Saturday, she says, her voice deliberately casual. We've had to trim the guest list. Fire marshal concerns. I press the phone tighter against my ear. Fire marshal concerns. For a 1-year-old's birthday party. You understand. I do understand perfectly. I understand that 38 of Alden's business associates and their spouses will witness Sabine's performance as the perfect Whitlow matriarch. I understand that my presence would complicate her narrative. Of course, I reply, keeping my voice light. Another time. Later that evening, my phone buzzes with notifications. Mrs. Henderson, Leora's oldest friend, has posted photos of her gift for precious little Gideon. The Talbot shoe taught me to play tennis every Sunday for 8 years, comment with excited anticipation. Even Professor Winters, my former piano teacher, has RSVP'd with enthusiasm. By midnight, I've been erased from their social consciousness. Persona non grata by unanimous consent. The following Tuesday, Alden summons me to his study. The room smells of lemon furniture polish and the lingering notes of his sandalwood cologne. We're selling the house, he announces without preamble. He stands behind his mahogany desk, back to the window so the afternoon sun creates a halo effect around his silver hair. The market's strong and Gideon deserves a fresh start. My childhood home. The garden where Leora taught me to identify songbirds. The kitchen where she let me help bake holiday cookies. The window seat where I first read Jane Eyre. When? I managed to ask. Listing goes live next week. The real estate agent suggests we begin renovations immediately. The renovations start within days. Somehow, during the flurry of contractors and interior designers, my belongings begin disappearing. First, it's small things: a framed photo of Leora and me at the Botanical Gardens, a ceramic mug I made in 7th grade art class. Then larger items vanish: me collection of first edition classics that Leora helped me build, the quilt her mother had sewn for my 10th birthday. When I ask about them, Sabine's eyes widen with practiced concern. They must have been accidentally packed with the donation items. I'll look into it. She never does. After the third accidental disappearance, I stop asking. Instead, I begin carrying my most precious possessions in my backpack: Leora's vintage wristwatch, the acceptance letter to my community college honors program, the small jade elephant she brought back from her last trip abroad. The constant vigilance wears on me. I find myself hesitating before entering rooms in what was once my home. I calculate my movements, timing bathroom visits for when Sabine is occupied elsewhere, eating quick meals standing at the kitchen counter rather than risking the dining room table. One night, I wake at 3 a.m., heart pounding, certain someone is in my room. The doorknob turns, light spilling from the hallway. I lie perfectly still, breathing evenly, as Sabine's silhouette pauses in the doorway. After 30 seconds of silence, she pulls the door closed again. The next morning, I buy a rubber doorstop. That afternoon, I start a journal, documenting everything in meticulous detail: dates, times, exact words spoken. I record conversations on my phone whenever Sabine or Alden enters a room. The growing collection of evidence becomes my armor against gaslighting, my proof that I'm not imagining things. Remember when Leora would take those detailed vacation notes? I ask Alden one evening, testing whether her memory still holds any power. His expression hardens. Your mother was sentimental to a fault. Your mother, not Leora. The distance in those two words tells me everything. After my advanced composition class the following Thursday, Professor Ellis asks me to stay behind. She's a small woman with silver-streaked brown hair and reading glasses that hang from a beaded chain around her neck. Your essay about found family moved me, she says when the other students have filed out. She slides a paper across her desk, not my essay, but an application form. You deserve a chance regardless of what anyone else thinks, she whispers. The Foster Youth Educational Support Scholarship, fully funded. The form trembles in my hand. That night, I work up the courage to confront Alden. I find him in his home office, reviewing documents while Sabine hosts her monthly ladies' luncheon downstairs. The murmur of conversation and occasional laughter floats up through the floorboards. I need to discuss my education fund, I say, standing straight-backed in the doorway. He doesn't look up. There's nothing to discuss. Funds have been reallocated. To Gideon. To more promising investments. He finally meets my eyes. You should be grateful we took you in at all. Most foster kids never get this much. The words hit like a physical blow, but I force myself to hold his gaze. Gratitude doesn't mean accepting betrayal. Mom Leora would be ashamed of you. His face reddens. For a moment, I think he might strike me. Instead, he laughs a harsh, dismissive sound that reminds me how little power I actually have. But something shifts inside me at that moment. This isn't just about my future anymore. It's about Leora's memory, her values, everything she tried to teach me about family and dignity. The next morning, Professor Ellis introduces me to Jackson in the financial aid office. He reviews my situation with a calm efficiency that makes me feel less like a charity case and more like a student with options. Foster youth status gives you priority consideration, he explains, checking boxes on my application. Professor Ellis and I will help you secure emergency funding to bridge the gap. When I try to thank them, Professor Ellis shakes her head. We're just doing our jobs, Maris. You're doing the hard part. Their matter-of-fact support contrasts sharply with the Whitlow's calculated manipulations. These strangers listen without judgment, validate my experiences without questioning my motives, and offer concrete help without extracting emotional payment. Their belief in me becomes a kind of permission to speak more directly, to plan more boldly, to prepare my counterstrike. 2 weeks before graduation, I rehearse my valedictorian speech in the empty auditorium, my voice echoing through rows of vacant seats. The approved version celebrates perseverance and gratitude safe, bland sentiments the college president praised. The version I commit to memory is different. Will this work? I ask Marcus from the A.V. Club as he checks the sound system. He gives me a thumbs up. Once you're live, you're staying live, no matter who tries to cut your mic. On graduation day, I button my blue polyester gown with steady hands. In my pocket, I carry the lab report comparing Gideon's DNA to Uncle Colton's. The truth that will change everything. As I step onto the graduation stage, I see Alden in row 5, his satisfied smile suggesting he already knows what he plans to do. What he doesn't know is that I'm equally prepared. For the first time in months, I feel something like power stirring in my chest. Back to the present, after my father's dismissal, I stand at the podium, my graduation cap heavy on my head, the tassel swinging with each slight movement. 370 pairs of eyes focus on me, waiting. The weight of their expectations presses against my chest, but I've prepared for this moment. The air conditioning hums overhead, suddenly the loudest sound in the world. I feel a strange calm descend over me, the kind that comes when a long-anticipated disaster finally arrives. This is exactly what I prepared for his need to control the narrative, to humiliate me publicly before I could speak my truth. He's handed me the perfect opening. In the stunned silence that follows, I watch realization dawn on faces throughout the audience. Mrs. Hensley, who has known the Whitlows for 20 years, covers her mouth with a trembling hand. Mr. Jacobson, Alden's golf partner, stares at his shoes. Even strangers look uncomfortable witnessing such a deliberate act of cruelty. Alden's reputation built over decades of carefully managed public appearances crumbles in seconds. The whispers begin at the back of the room and travel forward like wildfire. Did he just disown her? At graduation? Who does that to their child? Is he having some kind of breakdown? When Alden seized the microphone, I had seconds to decide. Should I read the DNA results aloud, making his betrayal as public as mine, or take the high road and walk away with dignity? Would justice bring healing, or would it just create more damage? Before I can speak, Professor Ellis rises from her seat and walks deliberately toward the stage. Her gray hair is pinned back in its usual neat bun, her academic robes flowing as she moves. She reaches the steps and climbs them with purpose, then stands beside me, her hand firm on my shoulder. "Maris," she says clearly, her voice carrying despite not using the microphone, "I believe this belongs to you." She hands me an envelope with the university seal. I recognize it immediately, the scholarship confirmation letter we'd worked on for months. The one that proves I don't need Alden's money after all. From the side entrance, Jackson appears, the financial aid counselor whose office I've practically lived in these past weeks. He approaches the stage with steady steps, another envelope in his hand. "Miss Whitlow," he says formally, using my legal name with deliberate emphasis, "your additional funding has been approved." He hands me the second envelope, then steps back with a small nod. The audience watches this quiet show of support, this proof that I am not alone, that Alden's rejection doesn't define me. Several people in the audience begin to applaud tentatively at first, then with growing confidence. Across the gymnasium, I see Sabine's carefully composed mask begin to slip. Her fingers clutch her designer purse so tightly her knuckles whiten. She whispers urgently to the woman beside her, but the woman edges away slightly, unwilling to be associated with what's unfolding. Near the back doors, I notice a man with a press badge scribbling notes. Another holds up a phone, clearly recording. This isn't just a graduation ceremony anymore, it's becoming a story. President Thornton finally finds his voice and approaches the microphone. "Perhaps we should continue with the ceremony," he suggests, his tone straining for normalcy. But I reach for the microphone with steady hands, feeling the weight of the lab report in my pocket. "Actually," I say clearly, "I think there's something everyone needs to hear." I stand firm as Alden approaches the podium, his Italian leather shoes clicking against the stage with deliberate authority. His checkbook emerges from his suit jacket, a weapon more familiar to him than any gun. The audience murmurs, phone still recording, as he forces a smile that doesn't soften the hardness in his eyes. "Maris." His voice booms too loudly for our proximity. "Let's discuss this privately." His hand trembles slightly as he clicks his Mont Blanc pen. "Name your price." A year ago, this moment would have terrified me. Now I feel oddly calm, like watching a storm from behind thick glass. "There's no price for truth, Alden." He leans closer, voice dropping to a harsh whisper. "There will be consequences if you continue this little performance. Think about what you're throwing away." The old Maris would have calculated risks, weighed options, retreated, but I've spent 16 years calculating, and now the equation finally balances. "I already know the consequences," I say, voice steady. "I've lived them every day since Mom died." I take the microphone, aware of every eye in the gymnasium tracking my movements. Professor Ellis gives me a small nod from the faculty section. My friend Trey flashes a thumbs up from the A.V. booth. Family is more than DNA, as Mr. Whitlow pointed out. I begin, which makes what I discovered last month even more disturbing. The lab report unfolds easily in my hands, the creases worn from multiple readings. I don't need to look at it anymore. The numbers are burned into my memory. 99.8% probability. This certified DNA analysis confirms that Gideon James Whitlow, age 2, is not Alden Whitlow's biological son. The words land like stones in still water, ripples of shock spreading through the crowd. These results show a 99.8% probability that Gideon's biological father is Colton Pierce Alden's brother. The screens flanking the stage suddenly illuminate with the lab results, magnified for all to see. Trey came through with his promise. The board president half rises from his seat, mouth open, then slowly sits back down. Alden's face drains of color so quickly I worry he might faint. His hand crushes the checkbook, knuckles white. "Sabine has been having an affair with Uncle Colton since before Mom died." I continue, keeping my voice measured. "The same Sabine who convinced you to cancel my college fund. The same Sabine who told me community college was more appropriate for someone like me." Phones flash throughout the audience. Someone whispers, "Holy shit," loud enough to echo. "Truth didn't break this family," I say, looking directly at Alden. "Deception did." Sabine stands abruptly in the third row, designer purse clutched against her cream suit like armor. Her perfect makeup can't hide the panic in her eyes as she scans the room, tallying the damage to her carefully constructed image. "What I never told you, Alden," I continue, "is that I didn't need your money after all. I earned a full merit scholarship to Dartmouth while working 30 hours a week at the campus library." The applause starts somewhere near the back and ripples forward. Professor Ellis smiles broadly, hands clapping with deliberate emphasis. You taught me something valuable about family. I fold the lab report carefully. It's built on truth, not convenience. When you decided I wasn't worth keeping, I decided truth wasn't worth hiding. Alden collapses into the nearest chair, a marionette with cut strings. I notice a beaded bracelet on his wriststone I made him for Father's Day when I was 7. The sight of it sends an unexpected pang through my chest. Sabine pushes past knees and purses toward the exit, her heels striking the floor like angry exclamation points. Several people reach for her sleeve as she passes, mouths forming questions she ignores. On the screen behind me, a small counter in the corner climbs. 12,000 viewers, 18,000, 24,000. Someone's live streaming this on Instagram. By tonight, everyone in 5 counties will know exactly what happened in this gymnasium. Congratulations to my fellow graduates, I say, stepping away from the microphone. May we all build lives based on truth. I collect my diploma case from the floor where I dropped it earlier, brushing my fingers over the leather. Inside, something feels different and extra weight. I open it to find an envelope tucked beside my diploma, my name written in handwriting I haven't seen in 4 years. Mom's handwriting. Leora's. To be opened at graduation, it says. Whispers spread through the audience about Sabine's hasty departure with Gideon. Someone mentions divorce papers already being drafted. The college president approaches me, his expression a careful blend of concern and damage control. But I barely register any of it. The letter in my hands feels impossibly heavy, as if all the words my mother never got to say have been distilled into this single envelope. I don't know what comes next. Whether Alden will try to rebuild what's broken or if I'll ever see Gideon again. Whether this family that was never really mine will completely dissolve or somehow transform. All I know is that for the first time since Leora died, I feel something like freedom. A year later, my 380 square foot studio apartment near Dartmouth glows with morning light. It's small, but mine in every way that matters. The contrast between this warm space and the Whitlow mansion's marble coldness still strikes me daily. I arrange framed photos on my reclaimed wood desk snapshots from my volunteer work at the Boston Foster Youth Center. Children's faces beam back at me, trusting and curious. Last week, a 7-year-old girl with auburn braids tugged my sleeve and asked why I came every Saturday. The answer rose easily. Because everyone deserves someone who shows up. The kettle whistles on my 2-burner stove. I pour water over coffee grounds, savoring the ritual's simplicity. No household staff, no performative breakfasts, where affection hinged on achievement. Just me and the morning stillness. A text from Professor Ellis lights up my phone. Ready for today? As I'll ever be, I reply, smoothing my navy blouse. Later, standing before 30 teenagers at the Foster Youth Mentorship event, I grip the podium edge. Their faces mirror my past, wary, hopeful, calculating the odds of disappointment. My adoption story begins with loss. I start, my voice steadier than I feel, and continues with choices, both those made for me and those I eventually made for myself. A girl in the front row leans forward. Something in her posture reminds me of myself at 16, already planning escape routes from every room. For years, I believed family meant biological connection or legal documentation. I continue. I was wrong. Family isn't who you're born, it's who you choose to build truth with. The words feel right in my mouth, earned through fire. As I speak about chosen bonds versus blood ties, I watch understanding dawn across their faces. They've lived this truth already, these children with old eyes. When I finish, their applause washes over me like absolution. Not for what happened, but for who I've become despite it. That evening, a small gathering fills my tiny apartment. Professor Ellis brings homemade bread still warm from her oven. Jackson from financial aid carries a potted plant. Something that grows for your new place. New friends from the volunteer center squeeze onto my secondhand sofa, their laughter genuine. We raise mismatched glasses in a toast. To the family we build, Jackson says, not the one we're given. The words echo in my chest long after they leave. I curl into my window seat, unfolding Leora's letter found in my graduation folder. Inside, a scrapbook titled, Why We Chose You holds photographs I've never seen Leora holding 3-year-old me, her face alight with genuine joy. Her letter speaks of love without conditions, hopes without demands. The final page holds my Dartmouth acceptance letter and an invitation to join a foster advocacy internship program, both tucked there months before her death, as if she'd known what was coming. A knock interrupts my thoughts. When I open the door, Alden stands in the hallway, looking smaller somehow, a notarized document in his trembling hand, the restoration of my college trust. As I stand facing Alden for the first time since graduation, I wonder if some bridges can be carefully rebuilt while others should remain crossed. Would you accept his attempt at reconciliation, or would you maintain the independence you fought so hard to establish? What does true forgiveness look like when the person who hurt you still holds pieces of your past?